You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast, joined by Jason Shear. I'm Mike Luke. We already got comments coming in here hot and heavy. Michael Udifo, Tony Clifton, Jake Fisher, our guy. Got a lot going on right here. But first, let's talk about some things going on that I think matter in Arizona basketball world. Keshad Johnson, obviously everybody knows, 6'7" power forward from San Diego State, was on campus, and by all accounts, it was a very, very, very good visit, Jason Shear.
Yeah. The visit went well. I think Arizona did about as well as it could without getting a commitment before he left. I don't think that's a huge deal with transfers. They rarely do it. They want to take their visits. He's going to visit Kentucky. I believe he has a visit to Texas Tech. I would be surprised if that visit happened or if they're a true, competition. I think it's Arizona and Kentucky right now.
All right, well, let's talk about what it means then for Arizona, because with Arizona, the one thing with Arizona is they can offer things that Kentucky can't. Now, again, Keshad Johnson's been around he's been around the block. He's played for good teams. Arizona can essentially offer him a starting position here. And make no mistake, if he were to come to Arizona, he would start next to Oumar Ballo. That's something that Kentucky outside of Lyon can't offer.
Yeah, I mean, it is, to be very clear, he's coming to Arizona. If he comes to Arizona, he's coming to Arizona to start at the 4. How many minutes he gets at the 4? Does he play some 3? Is there combos? Whatever it may be, he's starting. I would be very surprised if he does it. Kentucky, the path to starting just isn't really there. I mean, they have a much more complete roster. They're bringing in, one of the best classes, if not the best class in the country. They'll lie to him probably and say that he's starting, but I think more realistically, he's got a bigger role at Arizona.
And what's great about it, too, is that no matter what some people might say, he also feels, I believe, that the coaching staff, just talking with some people, has sold him that you're going to be our power. You could be our power forward right there. Not coming in to play the 3 or anything like that. He's going to be a power forward. And what I also like about this, and again, a lot of people look at it and they look from stat perspective and they're like, oh, only 7 points and 6 rebounds. That's how I mock people saying that. You got to remember here, Arizona's got to get tougher. The Tommy gun has done a lot of stuff. And Jake Fisher right here, the great Jake Fisher, by the way, going from a soft, bad defensive team to what would be the best team in the league is amazing. Yes, again, I have no doubt that any team under Tommy Lloyd is going to be able to shoot or is going to be able to score the ball. That's what he does. I need tough guys. I need players that can come in here and do some of the dirty work. I think Jaden Bradley can do some of that in the backcourt, and I think Keshad Johnson can do that as well.
Look, I mean, Azuolas is better than Keshad Johnson offensively, right? There's no doubt about it. Offensively, Azuolas may have been the best 4 in the country last season. So you're not going to replace that. Who's the better pure rebounder? It's probably Keshad Johnson per 40 minutes. I think people look at his stats also and don't realize he was playing 23 minutes a game because San Diego State was 10 deep. And so per 40, he's good, right? Defensively, no argument. It's Johnson by a mile. Defensive versatility, it's Johnson by a mile. Are you going to lose some offensively if you're doing that 1-for-1 trade? Of course, but that would have been the case with anyone.
Right.
I mean, how many 4s are in the portal averaging 20 and 10? It's not happening. You're not replacing. You're going at other positions too.
Like Doug Gottlieb always says, there are no pros in the transfer portal. And with the very few exceptions, there are no pros in the transfer portal. But I do know this. When you're at San Diego State, when you play that brand of basketball that they do, and you put up 13-4 in the championship game, you transfer that over to Arizona, which obviously runs a different style. I think it's very easy to extrapolate him to be, 11-8, 12-8, something like that. You got to put some points on there just because of the Tommy gun system.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at him, the offense, again, like you said, it doesn't bother me. I think Tommy Lloyd's going to find ways for his teams to score. And when you look at Johnson, he is a monster in transition. I mean, That's where his offense is going to come from. So if Arizona is getting out in transition, forcing turnovers and all that, Johnson's going to be probably the biggest, he's going to benefit the most. And right. I think 12-7 is very realistic for him.
All right, now we're going to talk about some of the other targets here and the positions that they're going to be looking at, and we're going to nerd out a little bit. I'm going to steal some of Michael Defoe's list right there off of Wildcat Authority because he is smarter than me, and he came up with a lot of names. By the way, good looking on that one right there because, again, he put Keshad Johnson in that list, and I remember texting you saying, this guy right here, he's up to something. But first, you might say, Mike, where was the read at the beginning? Well, thanks for asking. The great Jacob Franklin told me that I should put BetMGM in later in so it's not as awkward. So here we go. BetMGM. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM, use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live. But for our Arizona audience, you will get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details. Again, full details as my voice cracked right there. And again, all this is the place you can put signature bets. NBA playoffs are here. And if you're like Jason Shear and you like the Knicks, bet against the Knicks right now because the Miami Heat have the most underrated player of this generation in Jimmy Butler. Been telling you all that. Bet against the Knicks on BetMGM, and be aware that for all the Phoenix Suns away game games, you can go to the watch parties presented by Neutral. Happy hour pricing. Again, check it out at BetMGM right there. And again, the food is fantastic. You name it, you got it. Now let's hear the great Shane Diefenbach with the disclaimer.
21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
All right. Thanks, Shane. That was amazing. Now, let's talk about some of the other positions right here. In the transfer portal, I can guarantee you, I'm not breaking any news right here, Arizona is very much looking for a guard that could come in and play. Not breaking any news right there. There are some guards that have said they've been contacted by Arizona. There's a guy from GCU, Rayshawn Harrison, who I tried to make this happen, but it doesn't look like he's actually going to it doesn't look like he's actually going to enter the portal. He was listening to us. But a couple names that we need to go with first here. Do you want to go with your name first, or do you want to go with my name first about names that we would pursue?
And let's keep in mind, these are names that we would pursue. That doesn't mean that Arizona is pursuing.
Correct. Yes. And Jake Fisher, I'm envious of every offseason that Kansas has. But
Yes.
all right, go ahead. Who's your first guard there, Shear?
Jalen Sellers is my guy that I would go after.
All right.
He's a 6'4" guard, Ball State, averaged 13.5 points per game, shot 45% from three, does a little bit of everything. Anytime you can add a 45% athletic 6'4" guy that can shoot threes, you probably want to do it.
All right. But my only question is, could this be, because I saw that name as well, and I'm still a little burned by the Jacob Hazard era. Right there.
He's much more athletic, and he's bigger than Jacob Hazard.
He's
Texas.
much bigger.
How's this? Texas is after Sellers.
Well, that's the same. Now, name the other guy that I stole your thunder with on the board from Marshall, right there. And then I'm going to go with my guy. I'm going to go with my list next.
Andrew Taylor.
All right,
Yeah.
Andrew Taylor.
Bulk shooter. You know, not very high percentages, but would probably do well at Arizona, but he's not going to Arizona.
All right. Jesse Zarzuela, by the way, you put that up there, has said he has been contacted by Arizona. This is a pass for me. I would not like Jesse.
It's probably a pass for Arizona, too. It's not real.
Okay, well, then he lied then. But I did find his name in the portal, basically looking at all guards. I believe Arizona can do better than guys that score 15 points per game and shoot 36% from the field at, again, Central Michigan. Although maybe Dave Hickey's working a little overtime right here, Jason.
Let me clarify. When I say it's not real, so everybody on Arizona has a cell phone. So basically, what you could do is, like, if you're a Jason Garner, you could text a kid and be like, "Hey, keep us in mind." And if things go south, maybe you reach out to him again. Arizona is very different. I don't consider recruitments real until Tommy Lloyd or Jack Murphy are involved. And until I hear that they're involved.
Do you want to take that back right now? Because I have an example of where you're lying.
Who?
All right. You open the floor for me. Here's what Jason Scheer did. Bijan Cortez. Scheer said that if Arizona sent him anything or a coach contacted Bijan Cortez, who ended up at Oklahoma, the other Bijan.
Tommy wasn't on staff.
What's that?
That wasn't Tommy.
It was just, but it was Justin Gainey before, and you told me that.
That was Sean, though. That was a different staff. That was a completely different staff.
All right. Well,
that was a Sean Miller, Justin Gainey staff.
Right.
Apologize now.
TLN, I do have a little bit of information. Trey White right here, our guy Trey White, he would be like top priority on my port. I didn't see him commit, did he?
Yeah, he committed to Louisville like 3 days ago.
Joke, dude. That's why I'm bringing it up. But again, that's also why NIL doesn't matter everything here, because again, he was going to the highest bidder. Carter Bryant, they probably could have paid him more, and they didn't pay Carter Bryant. So again, that's kind of where I'm at with that one right there. Now, a couple other guys here too. And again, you got to remember here, we're looking mainly at guards, probably people that are about 6'3" and under, something like that. Now, again, you can be a little bit taller, but a lot of these names have gone off right there, and that's what's frustrating about this. I was actually intrigued by Matthew Cleveland right there from Florida State. He's at Miami right now. A lot of these guys are going off the board right now, but here's what you got to remember, Scheer, and this is where I'm going to go with you next. You got to remember that these guys that come in after the NBA draft, they can come right back in here. Keep in mind, Courtney Ramey right there, Scheer.
I would say that there are, and I say this with confidence, there are multiple guys that Arizona believes are going to eventually come back from the NBA draft and say, you know what, I'm coming back to college. Keep in mind that if you're a graduate, you can enter the portal whenever you want. This isn't just Arizona sitting here, waiting, and they have a plan. It may take a little bit to accomplish, but they definitely have a few players in mind.
Yes, but again, that is the position, because if you get Keshad Johnson, you need to remember Keshad Johnson is the one dude right now that Arizona, I think, to quote Nipsey Hussle, you're all money in on Keshad Johnson right there. And the European, we're not going to mention his name, but the name has been bandied about out there. You can certainly find this one very quickly if you so choose to. An interesting player to speculate on at least a little bit, because he gives you some position flexibility. He can play a little bit of 3, can play a little bit of 4 here. We're not mentioning his name, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's in again, I mean, he may not, we're talking about Keshad Johnson starting, but it's not like the European isn't coming in and playing a lot right away.
Right.
Coaching staff believes he's on a different level. And again, we never know. They could be wrong, but they believe that he's on a different level than the other international guys they've landed in terms of making an immediate impact.
Yes. Now, and that's kind of where everything is with that, is that you got to take all of this, in my opinion, with a little bit of a grain of salt, just because, these guys are international. Now, we have the updated graphic list right here of what the roster looks like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If Jacob Franklin, if you could pull this one up, that would be awesome. And if it's not there, then that's on me. But maybe it's not there yet. That could be on me right there. All right. Yeah, probably on me. My bad. But what you're seeing, though, again, is that Tommy Lloyd is going for a tougher look. He's going for you don't get pushed around. And again, let's be a little bit honest here. And I hate bringing this up. Oh, look at this. Oh, Jaden Bradley down there in the bottom. Told you right there. All right, so the backcourt is all made up right here. Then you got Pelle Larsson right here, who is 100% coming back. I'm not really breaking any news right there, but the staff would be beyond stunned if Pelle Larsson did not come back, Scheer.
Yeah, there is no expectation that he will leave. Like he's openly telling people that he's coming back. It's just a matter of getting the feedback and being able to talk closely and getting what he needs to be better at in order to be drafted after next season.
Yes, and another guy that we need to talk about is Azuolas Tubelis is 100% gone. There is no chance of Azuolas Tubelis coming back. Jason, sure.
Yeah, that'd probably be more shocking than Pella at this point. There's a reason why they're telling power forwards like Johnson that they're starting. It's not a lie. Azuolas, whether it's Europe or a second round flyer, is done at Arizona.
Azuolas is done, and honestly, I think Azuolas kind of is what he is at this point. There's nothing wrong with that, but Azuolas' strengths will always be there. Azuolas' flaws will always be there. B-Cat says, is Zoo's brother staying or going? He's not staying on scholarship.
Let's just say he will remain a part of the program.
Okay. All right. There you go. A little bit of a Gunnar Cruz type situation, perhaps?
I would say that's fair.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, you might say, Mike, you haven't got any reads in. All right. We're talking about the peaks right here, the 4 peaks. Again, 4 Peaks, the official brew of PHNX Sports. Check it out at the downtown location. All kinds of good stuff going on. Check out at 4 Peaks Brew or 4 Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 years or up to obviously drink 4 Peaks. Please drink responsibly. And again, they got all kinds of good stuff going on. You got Teachers Appreciation Week coming up there as well. So again, check it out, 4 Peaks and Tap and Bottle. Tap and Bottle watch parties. Scott and Rebecca do a very, very good job there. We've loved having all of you show up there before. We're going to keep doing it. And the best thing about it is you can get 4 Peaks there on 4 Peaks there as well. So again, check it out. Now, we're going to go into more names. I have a name that I do not understand. Derek Pivko, you did not miss the Circle K read. There is no Circle K read today. I do apologize about this. All right. Nate Calmisi. Why is Arizona not recruiting Nate Calmisi? Because, again, this guy fits everything. Michael Defoe, I need you to find this out, too. Why is Arizona not recruiting him? Just so you know, in-state kid, went to Lamar, averaged 18 a game, was a pretty efficient 18 per game, and I hear nothing. I would love Nate Calmisi.
Mike, what schools have reached out to Nate Calmisi?
That I don't know.
All right, there you go.
Well, but again,
I don't know. Look, I get it. Even if you
that's not an answer, though.
I will say there's something weird going on there because I don't think he's taken any visits. He hasn't mentioned any schools. His name has literally not been mentioned with anyone. You almost wonder if there's something behind the scenes going on over there. I'm not saying there is, but it's a weird situation. Like if you search him on Twitter, there's a bunch of schools wondering why they're not recruiting him, but they're not recruiting him. So you wonder if there's something going on over there.
I thought from the very beginning that I was on the cutting edge right here. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I was like, all right, I found somebody here. Nobody's recruiting him. I would take him.
No. And usually, again, like, I don't know. I'm not saying the kid's bad or anything like that. Usually there's reasons, especially in this, transfer portal age where everyone is going somewhere. For him not to get recruited is kind of weird.
All right. One thing that Tommy Lloyd is doing right now that I am a big, big fan of is recruiting guys that are younger or younger. That sounded terrible. Recruiting younger players, getting in on them early in Phoenix, especially Cam Holmes. I thought Arizona should have recruited Deron Holmes back in the day. But again, people smarter than me. Whatever. I like Cam Holmes a great deal. I think that Cam Holmes, he's going to be long and angular, a lot like his brother. He's going to provide you a lot of flexibility right there. I would love to see Arizona hop in on Cam Holmes.
Easy offer. I mean, when they offered him, it was an easy deal.
Wait a second. Is it Cody Williams' easy offer or like easier?
I think it's easier because Cam Holmes is better, 3 years earlier than Cody Williams was. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. But again, he's a kid, though, that you 100% get. All right, TLN right here. Yes. To answer your question, is Johnson the only guy that Arizona is currently actively recruiting in the portal? I get that guys might withdraw from the NBA. There's going to be I'm going to put this out there right now. I would be surprised if Arizona did not offer or maybe even get somebody that is currently testing the NBA waters. Is that a stupid proclamation by me?
No, because the way I see it is I haven't heard a guard yet that they're serious with, and the portal closes tomorrow. So unless there's a magical name, I think it's pretty obvious what they're banking on.
And so again, that's everybody's clue right here, because we don't know either. Find people that have declared for the NBA draft that aren't good enough to play in the NBA. Is this fair? Is that a fair? Yeah. All right, that's the gingerbread house right there. Find it, and then you can go from there. Now in state though. Going a little bit further, got some other names, though, to keep in mind as well. Then let's talk about Monty Williams' kid a little bit. Monty Williams' kid, again, Elijah Williams, pretty good player right there. I have not seen him yet, but just watching the highlights, he checks out.
Yeah, another easy offer. Can do a little bit of everything. Plus, you have that relationship built in with Ricardo Foy. Tommy was at pretty much all of his games. Teammates and friends with Cam Holmes. Just makes a lot of sense. Another easy decision for Arizona. He's another guy, though. Him and Holmes are going to have offers from a lot of schools.
Yeah, but that's also why you get in on these guys early. Now, looking at some of there's another in-state. We're going to keep it in-state here. There's a lot of guys that are native in-state kids that aren't, and by native, I don't mean Native American. I mean that are, that are actually indigenous to the state of Arizona as far as high school, as opposed to just coming from everywhere. Who else we got on there?
I don't know.
Isn't there a third name?
In state?
Yeah.
Who am I missing?
Thought you were missing somebody.
No, I don't.
Oh, maybe you're not missing somebody.
There's the House brothers. They're good.
I want to say this. I've seen the House brothers. They are good. Check them out. I know it would be really weird having Eddie House's kid here, but I got to give it to them. They're both really, really good. And Phoenix has a lot of good talent.
Are you thinking of Brandon McCoy?
I am thinking of Brandon McCoy.
Huh?
I am thinking of Brandon McCoy, and Koa Pete was going to be the obvious one right here. But Koa Pete's going to be able to go wherever he wants.
Yeah. Koa Pete, I was thinking young guy. Brandon McCoy is Bosco, but he was on that team. Koa Pete is going to go wherever he wants. But Arizona has a legit shot for him. They really do.
You know what? But that's what you do, though. You offer the kids, and you offer those kids early. Is Koa Pete going to be the best prospect to come out of the state since Cody Williams? I'm sorry. I won't ever do this again. I do apologize.
Hey, at least I'm not one of these guys that are saying they wouldn't offer Koa Pete, or he may not be that good.
All right. We're going to make fun of Bruin Report for a second here, because this is when you don't have a chance of getting a kid, that's what you do. You say that the guy who said one of the top 3 players in the country, and I kid you not, the write-up is fantastic about Koa Pete. Not sure who he guards at the college level. He guards anyone he wants. Also, he drives to the basket and generally gets fouled or makes a shot, but a lot of times doesn't actually but that probably won't translate to the next level. It will translate to the next level.
He'll guard a 3 or a 4 if you want these long and athletic. Yeah, I mean, right. There's guys that I haven't liked in the past that everyone likes. I mean, I could go and
Jakari Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I could go and give you names in the rankings or whatever, but it's when you're a top 5 player, you're pretty damn good.
All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about Jamari Phillips again and Carter Bryant and where they're going to be in the 24/7 rankings. But as all of you know, again, that is the key. We need all of your help right here, because these names are likely, again, these names that Arizona's looking to get have likely declared for the draft, at least at that guard position. So again, we are calling on the masses right here to back the A and help us help you find these names, and you will get full credit right there. Is this correct, Jason Shear?
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, what I do like, all right, I'll be watching back later, but can we talk about Jesse Zarzuela if we haven't? That was the first name I led with. Shear said there's nothing to it. He did say that he's been contacted by Arizona, but a lot of kids have been contacted by Arizona. I believe Arizona can do better than him, even with the Dave Hickey connection.
Mike, I'm surprised you're not pushing for Marcus Bagley to return to school and come to Arizona.
All right, that's maybe the most bizarre thing ever. So he is in the NBA draft.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of dudes that are in the draft. Like Bart Bagley is on the list. 100.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys on the list, though. It's like even guys that have transferred are on the list. Like TJ Bamba is technically declared for the NBA. He's not going, you'd assume, but like there's a lot of dudes that like Boo Booey, great name from Northwestern, yesterday said that he's coming back to school. He was on the list. And I think in the next week you're going to see a bunch of guys, kind of come back and all that.
What we are going to do, though, next week, though, is I guess Dirty Dancer says, I guess we'll have to go through 250 people. I am going to go through the 250 people. Sheer is as well, and all of you are, and we are going to come up with the list of people, and we are going to submit this to Tommy Lloyd and say, listen, we've done your job for you. Make this one happen.
You're good.
Yeah.
Got this, Tommy.
All right. Now, Jamari Phillips, I've been on this one from day one, and I can't blame you. Jamari Phillips is better than he gets credit for in the national rankings outside of ESPN, but they don't count because they don't watch any of these players. Jamari Phillips should be a top 25 player after what he's done and what he's going to continue to do. What says Jason Shear?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he'll get a bump in the rankings. He was awesome during EYBL, one of the best players that I saw that whole weekend, if not the best. He'll get a bump. I don't know how much, but I think he's 33 right now, so it's very possible he gets in the top 25.
He's a McDonald's type kid. Again, would you agree with that?
Yeah, we need to push. America or Arizona, we need to push to get Jamari in the McDonald's All-American game. And
again, Arizona fans are some of the most consistent, persistent people out there. You can ask ESPN about that. That's another thing that we need right there. All right, Jake Fisher, you're probably going to get mad at me right here, but again, I cede to the Division I player right here, as I was not a Division I player. I think SC and Oregon, and again, I get that Oregon sucked the last couple of years. Totally get it. I think SC and Oregon clearly have better rosters. I think Arizona's a top 15 to 25 team. Those teams, to me, have more talent.
I think USC has the best roster. The one thing I am curious about USC is where the points come from. Because, like, I love Isaiah Collier. He's not a scorer. Bronny's not going to be a scorer. So they're going to win some ugly basketball games.
What about Boogie? Boogie's a scorer.
Boogie's a scorer, but who else on that roster? They lost Trey White. We're just saying, like, they lost Trey. Kobe Johnson can't score. I love Big Vince. Maybe
Vince the Prince is going to be the dude.
Right, but, like, Joshua Morgan doesn't score. Like, I'm very curious where those points come from.
What do we think about Oregon? And again, I was wrong on Oregon last year, Defoe. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oregon's weird because you'd assume they're better, but like you'd assume they'd be better last season too. It's just
but they got rid of a lot of weenies, though.
Yeah, but he like just kind of picks and chooses his roster without chemistry. Like it could be really good. Like it wouldn't surprise me, and it wouldn't surprise me if they sucked either.
Right. Okay. So you got Dante's the best. Is Dante the best returning big in the conference?
Yeah.
Got to be, right? So your lineup is probably Dante, KJ Evans, Mookie Cook, Shellstad, and
that's not that good.
I mean, a lot of 5 stars there.
Yeah, but KJ's not going to be that good in college.
All right. I am going to say then, you know what? So are you back in the A? Are you picking Arizona to win the conference next year?
The roster's not done yet. I don't do this. I don't play these games, Mike.
But where can they probably find roster additions, though?
WildcatAuthority.com.
Absolutely. And by combing the transfer portal right there, to be able to check one out.
If you give Arizona Keshad Johnson, if the internationals pan out, if Arizona
Jacob Franklin, can you pull that back up again? And we're going to pretend that Keshad Johnson's on this list.
If the internationals pan out, if Arizona goes and gets a transfer portal guard who provides depth, all of a sudden that roster is really good.
Yes. What I need, though, is I need another – we were talking about scorers. I need another scorer in here, though, somewhere.
You have Dylan. You have Dylan.
What's that? Well, you got Dylan. Nate Calmisi, maybe. But I'm just putting that one out there. Now, let's say that you're thinking about a cool place to take the kids over the weekend. Say you're like Jason Shear and you got the Rugrats running around. Octane Raceway and Mavericks. Okay, there's nothing like it in the Valley. Now, you do have to go up to the Valley to do this, but again, check it out. Again, they got all kinds of good stuff going on here for Mother's Day brunch and extravaganza. from scratch brunch, half off mimosas until 2 p.m., and free $10 game card with a free brunch purchase. Plus, all moms get free axe throwing. Shelby can get free axe throwing, Jason Shearer.
We've been axe throwing. It's awesome.
All right. Yes, it is. It is. Book some fun this spring at Octane Raceway and Mavericks, kart racing, virtual reality, laser tag, again, axe throwing, bowling, arcade, great food and drinks, tons of different events throughout the summer. Check out octaneraceway.com and mavericks.com to learn more. And pins and aces. Now, Jason Shearer, you don't golf. Is this correct?
I do not golf.
I'm not a very good golfer either, but I've always wanted to look cool like the other people that do golf. That's where Pins and Aces comes into play. Check out pinsandaces.com and use code PHNX to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. It's family owned and an apparel business. All kinds of great stuff right there. All right. So, I don't believe that.
I got news for you. You ready for this? DJ Rodman just announced he's going to USC.
DJ Rodman was on the list of players I was looking at last night because I would have loved to have had DJ Rodman. But all right, well, let's talk about it then. He doesn't provide scoring, but he definitely provides toughness.
That also, Keshad Johnson is done to USC. Like they can't even take him now.
But this is always going to come down to Arizona, Kentucky, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So again, DJ Rodman.
What does he do? They got a bunch of dudes that can't score.
It's like a Sean Miller team.
Better coached.
True. I said, there you got it. You got it right there. You got it. But you can win with a lot of Rondays and Aaron Gordons, correct?
Are these dudes Rondays and Aaron Gordons?
No, they're not. They're not even. They're not even close to that. But DJ Rodman. Go ahead.
USC needs another scorer. They're going to have a similar problem to Arizona. They got a team of a bunch of forwards. Like Bronny at the end of the day is a forward. They just added Rodman, who's a forward. They got Vince and Josh Morgan and they're all forwards.
Maybe they're not done yet, though. Just saying. Maybe they're.
I don't even know if they have room.
You do admit, though, that Andy Enfield is a good coach.
Would you hire Andy Enfield at Arizona?
That is not the question.
It's very much the question.
You answered my question with a
no,
question.
and you don't think he's a good coach.
I just believe that's a middle finger right there to you. All right. Now, so again, that's the news right there. Keshad Johnson, definitely Arizona made a very good impression, but you also need to start looking at NBA draft names right there and who could withdraw, because that's where the next action is going to be, in my opinion. Now, we're going to talk a little bit of Arizona football here. Arizona football getting first-round grade love, Jason Shearer. CBS put it out there yesterday. Jordan Morgan coming back. When was the last time we were able to pump up somebody from Arizona as being a potential first-round pick? Jordan Morgan is on that list.
I was told, and Arizona firmly believes, that like they told me that they thought Morgan had top 10 potential before he got in, like that he was going to go into the workouts of the combine and just impress the hell out of everyone. We saw him in CBS, last pick of the first round. I think he's going to go high. Like there is legit potential. He's one of the top linemen taken in the first round. I think people need to realize, like, I think what happens sometimes is you get a player like Morgan who's good every game that eventually you just kind of stop appreciating what it is that you're watching because you expect him to be good every game. And I think people need to realize, like, Arizona has 2 first-round picks on its offensive line.
Yes, and Jonas Savaiinaea is a lock first-round pick. Whenever he's eligible, barring injury, Jonas Savaiinaea will be a first-round pick. All of a sudden, if this works out, if Jordan Morgan comes back all healthy, you got Jonah at the right tackle, all of a sudden you've got a really, really good tackle situation right there.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, like, I know people are comfortable with Big Jonah at guard, but he's a really good tackle. Like, really, really good. Like, NFL prospect at tackle as well. And just the way the line is, Arizona, you know, probably it feels really good about Jonah and Jordan Morgan at tackle and, you know, Wendell Moe at one of the guards, and it'll kind of figure the other guard spot out.
because you got Josh Baker there as well. I am curious about who that other guard is going to be, though. Obviously, they don't believe that tackle is on the roster. That's why you move Big Jonah over.
Right. And I am very curious. I think a lot of it is, and how good is Raymond Polito when he gets on campus? Is he good right away? Do they go in and add a portal guy? There's questions there.
Yeah. All right. Now we're getting a lot of questions here. Both of these guys get drafted earlier than Evan Britton did. As long as Jordan Morgan is healthy, yes. Jonas Savaiinaea for sure. What was Britton, like the 40th pick?
Think so, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. In my opinion, yes. Especially Big Jonah. That dude is definitely going to be picked ahead right there. Now, we're going to talk a few NFL prospects here because it's been forever since we've been able to talk NFL prospects on the U of A and about guys being high-round picks right here. Again, very unique. We haven't been able to do this in a while. Growing up, we always had NFL prospects, but that kind of went out of fad here for a few years. But also, need to tell you about PHNX. Here's the deal. Become a diehard today. Check out phnxlocker.com to grab your membership to receive exclusive content, discount on all events and merch, and access to your Discord chats. Give you an idea? Or this is a good event to go to today. You got the Suns away game watch party. Who do you like, by the way, Sheer? Who do you got?
Nuggets.
I think the Nuggets are going to win as well. And you got all kinds of good events. Jacob Franklin likely will be there. All of the GOATs will be up there. So, again, check it out at the BetMGM Sportsbook. You will be happy you did it. All right. Now, we just talked about two guys that we think are going to be first-round picks here at the U of A, in Jordan Morgan and Jonas Savaiinaea. T-Mac, I'm going to say he's a second-round pick. What say you?
Yeah. That sounds about right. I don't think he's a first. I don't think he's fast enough to be a first. And you got to be really, really good to be a first round wide receiver. And I'd say second round comfortably.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, Jacob Cowing, I believe, because here's the thing with Jacob Cowing. Jacob Cowing is, if he was 6 foot, he wouldn't be here. But he's probably, what is Jacob Cowing, 5'8" at most?
Yeah.
I mean, so he's about 5'8" at most, but I still think with his explosion, with the way that he can run, fourth round pick, something like that.
I'd say fourth pick. He's going to do good in the 40 or whatever. He's going to do good in the combine. He's a slot guy, and they're moving him to the outside to give him some range. We'll see if that lasts, depending on what happens with the portal. But yeah, I'd say fourth round is about right.
Tanner McLaughlin will be on an NFL roster this following season, and this will be one of Jed Fish's best observations ever. I believe Tanner McLaughlin will be on an NFL roster at this time next year.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets drafted necessarily, but the coaching staff absolutely believes he's an NFL tight end. He's got the build. He can catch. He can block. It would not surprise me at all if he's on an NFL roster.
All right, now let's talk a little Taylor Upshaw right here, because all of a sudden he's the best returning pass rusher on the team with 5 career sacks. But he did play at Michigan. Dion essentially said you're not good enough here. But can this be a Hunter Echols type situation right here, where a little bit underlooked, and Echols came in here and was good.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching staff knows him well. I think Jed knew him from Michigan, or they have guys who knew him from Michigan. Matt Doherty, recruiting coordinator, recruited him at Miami out of high school. He's 23 years old. He's mature, great kid. I don't know if he'll start right away, but he's going to have a role right away, physically developed. He's not raw. Like, he's played in games before. And so they feel that he's going to step in and be very comfortable with what Arizona's running and be able to contribute right away.
All right, B-Cat and Brad Rich. B-Cat says, is Arizona a top 25 team? I don't go that far, but I think Brad Rich is right, though, in saying top 35. I think top 35 is a very realistic expectation this year, Sheer, if you're a 7-win team in a Power 5 conference.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, things will have to break right in the ATA conference. I think that's a big thing, but potential-wise, Arizona is absolutely top 35 capable.
All right. By the way, I want to tell everybody as well, I found out Kean Burnett lives about 5 doors down from me. I saw him riding on one of those birds the other day. Big kid, almost crashed, though. We need you guys to be careful out there. Again, he was on the sidewalk and he tripped, or I'm not going to dare air all the dirty laundry, but we need these kids to be safe out here, Sheer.
Yeah, I always get nervous when I see an offensive line on one of those scooters or whatever, just going
because they're everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
All right. Before we sign off here, Sheer, where can they find you?
WildcatAuthority.com at Jason Sheer on Twitter.
All right. You can find me at Iron Mike Luke or at PHNX Wildcats, and you can follow Jacob Franklin at Jacob Franklin Jacob Franklin 4. All right. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting one because I'm having my parents on to talk about the odyssey that is Arizona sports. So again, mark your calendars right there.
I will be watching.
All right. Back the A. As always, appreciate all the remarks. Again, we need your help. Find out players that have declared for the draft, and we're going to go from there. We will find Courtney Ramey plus 2.0. Right, Jason Shear?
We're in it. Let's get this done.
We're in it to win it. Again, thank all of you guys. We will talk with you tomorrow. Back the A. For Jason Shear, I'm Mike Luke and the great Jacob Franklin. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.